Welcome into the Michigan Football Report here on Thursday evening. Folks, gosh, we got still got one more day. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get any work done tomorrow. Don't tell the big wigs at Chat Sports. I'm just going to come in here, kick up my feet, and I don't know, play solitaire, watch old Braylon Edwards videos all day tomorrow waiting for this one. I've got my keys to victory for the Michigan Wolverines. I've analyzed this game probably more than any game this season, given obviously it's a top 10 matchup. And frankly, it could be the difference between Michigan making the playoff or not, all things considered, with Ohio State and Penn State still looming out there. So give me the answer to this question, though, to start the show, before we jump into my 5 keys to victory. Who is this a bigger game for? Which one of these two head coaches, Jim Harbaugh, 3-3 against Michigan State, right? And some people might say 2015, 2017, maybe Harbaugh could be 4-2, or I guess 3-3, yeah, 4-2, 5-1, I guess, if he won both those. But he's not. And Mel Tucker got his first win as Michigan State's coach last year in the second game of the season against Jim Harbaugh. And he's 1-0 against Harbaugh. So give me a JH or MT, just the initials of the coaches down in the comments. I'll pin this comment down below the video. Give me an initial, and maybe give me your thoughts on either one why. I think it's JH personally. Reason why, drops to 3-4. The narrative continues. Can't win the big one. Can't win rivalry games. Mel Tucker, wildly exceeding expectations. Year 2, he only dropped to 1-1 versus Jim Harbaugh. So I've got a JH, but let me know down in the comments. All right, so a couple of interesting stats I was just looking at, going through the media releases for this game. First ever 7-0 matchup between the two schools. Both teams were 7-0. And so, pretty interesting to think about. Most years, ironically, way back in the day, I was looking back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they would play before the 7th game, so they didn't even get a chance to get to the point where they could be 7-0. And, things got to line up with when it happens in the season or when each team's bye week. Both had their bye week prior to this. So first ever 7-0 matchup with both schools. I put this out on Twitter too. Also, the Lions 0-7, first state in the history of the country to have 2 college football teams 7-0 and a 0-7 NFL team. All right, last top 10 matchup between these two schools was in 1964. Crazy to think about, right? Michigan State, you think about, I was talking about earlier in the week, the 1999 game, Nick Saban's last year, really great Michigan team with Tom Brady as a senior, Plaxico Burress on the Michigan State side. State wasn't actually ranked in the top 10. They got into the top 10 and continued to have a great season after beating Michigan that year in East Lansing, but alas, that was not a top 10 matchup. So 2 interesting stats to think about as we go into this game. Now I'm going to talk about my keys to victory for this University of Michigan football program. And frankly, the first one is the same thing I said for Wisconsin that they did. The same thing I said for Nebraska, which they also did. And now I'm going to say for Michigan State, make this a Michigan home game, okay? Jim Harbaugh, players, fans, okay? Get your butt to this game if you're a Michigan fan. If you can get to the game, spend the money. You won't regret it. You won't miss the money if they get the victory and you cheer this team on. Wear your home shoes. Act like it's hell. Run out and touch their banner. Just act like it says "Go Blue" on it, right? Make it feel like a home game. Jim Harbaugh hasn't had that much trouble doing that in East Lansing, either as a coach or a player. We'll talk about that here in a second. But there it is right there. Toss up on screen, Brett. I didn't see it coming up next, so might as well toss it up now. Harbaugh, 2-0 as Michigan's head coach at East Lansing in Michigan State as a road coach. Now, 2016, that wasn't a ranked team. That's the Devin Bush, tear up the turf game, etc. That was a bad Michigan State team. I'm sorry, that was 2000. I'm missing the years. That was 2018, the Devin Bush. 2016, the Jabril Peppers 2-point conversion run back, all that. 2018, they were ranked, like 19, 20 in the country. Michigan got the win there. And when Jim Harbaugh was the starting quarterback back in the 80s, he also got a win in East Lansing. 3-0 Harbaugh is at Michigan State. Not very good at home, right? He's lost in 2020, lost in 2017, lost in 2015 at home, and then won in 2019. It's kind of odd how it's worked out where 4 of the games have been at home, only 2 have been away in 6 seasons. So 2006, right? 15 seasons ago, the second weekend of the fall, Michigan went in and absolutely obliterated number 2 Notre Dame in South Bend. That's the last time this program beat a top 10 team on the road. Crazy to think about, right? Think back to when Lloyd Carr was the coach. That was one of the stats that Michigan hung their hat on, which was how many road wins he had against top 10 teams. I think for the first 7-8 years of Lloyd Carr's time at Michigan, he had a 10 or 11-1 record against top 10 teams overall. So quite a few of those were coming on the road. All right, let's go talk more about these 5 keys to victory. But I'm going to make sure you guys continue the good vibes, the good juju, as they say. Don't jinx it. Put good karma out in the world. Our video from Tuesday where I said, look, it worked against Wisconsin, Nebraska. Now this one, road game. Don't jinx it. 1,168 likes is how many likes we got in the video on Tuesday. So that's just triple, quadruple guarantee that we get this win in East Lansing. Like the video, we beat 1,168 likes. Guaranteed Michigan's going to win. Probably. No money back, not guaranteed for me. Get it from Jim Harbaugh if you want that one. But look, don't be the guy who went Saturday afternoon if Michigan loses that didn't like the video, because I'm going to find out who you are, okay? I'm pulling the viewer audience from YouTube. They're going to tell me everybody's name. I'm going to see who didn't like it. If you didn't like it, I'm calling you out in the post game on Saturday if they don't win this game. Number 2 is win at the time of possession. And it's kind of interesting because I looked at both teams. Michigan 7-0, one of the best teams in the country at time of possession. But Michigan State 7-0, and they're one of the worst teams in the country at time of possession. So I kind of struggle with this one, but I don't think Michigan can get the victory if they don't have it. So I put it in there as a key to victory for them. Clearly it hasn't hurt Michigan State so far this year, but Michigan at 32.44 per game is number 13 in the country at time of possession so far through 7 games this season. Now, on the other side, Michigan State only 26.59 a game time of possession, number 119 in the country. So what we've learned about this team all year, this Michigan State team, is they rely on the big plays. They're not going to have a 12-play, 7-8 minute drive that's going to happen, put the ball in the end zone. When their running game gets going, usually they, boom, big-time play. Big-time passing plays. They are not a very methodical offense, so Michigan definitely has to make them work for a touchdown. The running game is vital for Michigan. Absolutely vital. You saw Rutgers. You saw a couple other games where they didn't just pile up those yards. Maybe Wisconsin here this season so far is the outlier where they didn't pile up yards and had a relatively easy victory on the road in Madison. But you've got 2 running backs, folks, that are among the best duo in college football. And I saw the Big Ten Network put out the best running back duo in America graphic a couple days ago. And Ohio State fans were just in shambles over it because they have Travion Henderson and a bunch of guys who are just kind of bums at this point because Henderson seized the job. And of course, Michigan State fans want to say some stuff about that because their running back has more yards. But dynamic duo, both these guys on pace for 1,000 yards. I think there's been 4 games where they both had 100 yards so far this year. Maybe 4 where one of them did and 3 the other one, whatever it is. They have put up some of the better performances. I'll try and pull the stats going into next week's game. How many times in history of Michigan football in one season 2 running backs have had 100 in the same game? So let's hope they both do it this week against Michigan State. All right, betting matchup really hasn't moved, right? Michigan is now a half point less of a favorite than they were a couple days ago. I told you it started off about 4. It popped to 4.5. Some early money came in on Michigan, and now the money seems to be kind of evening it out, so they've dropped Michigan down to 4. Now, we talked about here in the office here, a lot of gamblers here at Chat Sports. That 50 points, 50.5 over-under, that seems wildly high. I was expecting it to be like 41, 42. But we'll see what happens. If you think you know what you got going on with betting, if you know what's going to happen in this game, you want to bet on games in the NFL, college football, NBA, World Series, go get started with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. It's chatsports.com/GoBlue. Don't go Googling BetUS. Type that link right into your browser so you can be recognized with the promo code GoBlue when you make your first deposit, 125% deposit bonus. And if you put in at least $100 and you make a bet by the end of the month through Sunday, put your hands up. Michigan football jersey giveaway is happening. We didn't have the rap horn soundtrack, so I just do my own. Michigan football jersey, Jordan brand jersey, not one of these knockoff Walmart ones that some of our competition has given away in the past. So chatsports.com/GoBlue. Type in your browser. They'll track you so they know, we'll see you on the dashboard. Use that promo code GoBlue when you deposit. Make your first bet by Sunday, and then email us. Very vital, very key. You got to email jersey@chatsports.com. Say, hey, give me that Jordan brand jersey. I could go with BetUS. Send us your account number, and we'll get some more information from your screenshot of your bet, your address, size, etc. Get you one out for the rest of the season, frankly. All right, number 3, keep Kenneth Walker under 100 yards is frankly the key to Michigan State's season so far. So it's clearly a key to this game coming up here on Saturday. Let's think about what Walker has done so far this year. He's had a couple wild performances, but just 3 yards shy of 1,000 yards right now, 9 touchdowns, 152 carries. Right, they won by 5 points 2 weeks ago at Indiana, 20-15. He had 23 carries, only 84 yards, no touchdowns. All right, you circle back 3 weeks prior to that, they almost lost to Nebraska and needed a punt return touchdown, I believe it was, to tie it up, force overtime to get the win. 19 carries, 61 yards in that one. So the 2 games out of the last 4 they've struggled at, and no touchdowns for him against Nebraska either. He has been under 100 yards, 23 for 84, no touchdowns, 19 of 61. Now, the 2 games in between that, Rutgers, 29 carries, 233 touchdown, 24 carries, 126, 3 touchdowns at Western Kentucky, had 172 against Miami, had 264 and 4 touchdowns in the opener versus Northwestern. Only didn't get 100 against Youngstown State in the second game because he didn't really play after the middle of the second quarter. So you've got to limit him. You cannot let him go off. You cannot let him just drive down the field for long touchdown runs, 60, 70 yards from there. So keep him under 100 yards. And if you do, then it comes down to limiting these guys. A pretty good wide receiver group for Michigan State, all things considered. Jaden Reed, Jalen Naylor, and Trey Mosley. They're putting up wildly better stats than Michigan's wide receivers at this point. The passing game has been a key, but it doesn't really get going unless the running game starts with it. So if you limit Walker, you should be able to key in on these players, and hopefully Michigan doesn't give up the jump balls like they did last year in losing to Michigan State when Michigan State's passing game threw all over Michigan's Don Brown on an island secondary. All right, talk about passing game there for Michigan State a little bit. How about for Michigan, right? This Michigan State defense is one of the worst in the country against the pass, right? Against the pass in the country. So talk about Michigan's wide receiver leaders here in a second, but the goal here, Michigan to get 225 yards passing. It seems like it can't be done, right? But you might change your mind here in 1 second. One more reminder: like the video. A lot more than we're not wrapping up here, so don't go to another video. Like it. We got more stats. We got more keys to the game. I'm going to show you some of what Michigan's got going on in this one. But let's get to 1,169 likes. One more, and also 69, nice, for this video. That is you putting out good karma in the world to get this win over Michigan State. All right, since Michigan's conference play has started, these are your receiving leaders, and they are wild to think about, right? So Michigan is 7-0, 4 games, I guess, in conference play so far. And your 2 leading receivers from a pass-catching perspective are Eric All, the tight end, who is really been, an odd man out in a lot of ways. You hear almost nothing about him, but he's got 12 catches in the 4 conference game. Blake Corum, and then you got to go down Cornelius Johnson and Roman Wilson, who's only played in 3 of those 4 games, as your wide receiving leaders as far as catches. Clearly, those guys have more yards, touchdowns, but Michigan is not going to get to that 225 number. They're not going to get this Michigan State defense to lay off the line of scrimmage, try and stop Corum, try and start Haskins, unless they can prove they can throw the ball downfield. Michigan got it done against Wisconsin, a passing performance they needed on the last big road game that many people thought they might lose. Obviously, Nebraska, maybe a little bit of a different story, but that is the concern there. I'm going to talk about Michigan State's defense here in a second, but want to ask you guys to make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are right behind Michigan Podcast. They put out a good show, so no hating on that. I'm not hating on anything. I just want to have more subscribers to them. Give us the crown of the undisputed. We're always the most viewed, and most subscribed to Michigan football channel on YouTube. We have videos every single day and the fastest post-game show in the game. Plus, no fluff. We tell you how it is. All right, number 5, score touchdowns in the red zone is really the key for everything that Michigan has to do in this game, right? And really, in my opinion, they've got to score passing touchdowns to win the game. It can't just be all on the ground. Michigan's done a pretty good job at scoring in the red zone. 10 field goals out of 33 attempts in the red zone. But look at this Michigan State defense, okay? They can stop you running. Number 31 in the country against the run. They can stop you from scoring, right? Number 19 in the country. Scoring. Number 19 in the country at 18.71 yards per game. But look at that number. Point per game. Look at that number down there, the second one. Passing yards per game, 285.4. That's number 121 in the country. This secondary gives up big plays. They give up small plays. They give up high completion percentage to other quarterbacks. Michigan should be able to throw the ball. I'm not going to tell Jim Harbaugh how to game plan against a team. That's his job. My job is to analyze it, give my opinions on that when it comes to it. But the way I look at things, if Michigan goes with that same game plan they went against other teams so far this year, it might not work as successfully as it has, in starting 7-0. And the opportunities are there. One of the worst pass defenses in the country, worse than the Big Ten. And if Michigan wants to win this game, and hell, they should win this game. There's more talent on Michigan's team all the way across the board. It's going to have to come ball control offense, don't give up big plays, etc. But Cade McNamara has got to throw the ball and score touchdowns, passing, hopefully at least a couple of them, in the red zone when they get in there, or Michigan's going to be settling for a lot of field goals against a stacked defensive box that Michigan State will undoubtedly throw at them. All right, I'll have one more show for you on Friday before Saturday's game. Remember, we'll be back right after the game on Saturday, but if you want to follow things going on, my opinions during the game, follow me at James Yoder on Twitter. I'll put it down in the comments and in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't yet. I'll be back with Friday with another Michigan football report, heading into the Michigan State game on Saturday. Until then, go Blue.